We first met, Jazz and I, at a dance hall dive at the Barbary Coast. It screeched and bellowed at me from a trick platform in the middle of a smoke-hazed, beer-fumed room, and it hit me hard. Raucous? Yes. Crude? Undoubtedly. Musical? As sure as you live. Paul Whiteman.
Paul Whiteman was a formerly trained violinist from Colorado who abandoned a symphonic career after hearing a jazz band one night in San Francisco.
Absolutely knocked him out. It was so driving. It was so much fun. He got up that morning with the blues. He went home that night feeling floating, and had a great time. Now, his way of thinking, because of his training, his background, his father as a music educator, playing viola in a symphony orchestra, immediately he is thinking not about playing it that way, but about converting it his way.
Whiteman was convinced that he could find a way to orchestrate jazz, to make it even more commercially viable, to retain its rhythm and harmony while rendering it as precise and predictable as classical music. His arrangements were intended, he said, to make a lady out of jazz.
His concern all the time was that this is an amazingly important art form. We just need to be able to score it. We need to be able to get teams of musicians who can play it. We just need to be able to take it from its primitive state.
His first big hit had come in 1920 with Whispering. Soothing, heavily orchestrated, it sold 2.5 million copies. More than 250 times what Armstrong and Oliver's Chimes Blues would sell. Paul Whiteman's orchestra soon became the most celebrated and most imitated in America, launching a whole new trend in society dance music. On February 12, 1924, a big crowd turned out to hear the Paul Whiteman Orchestra play what was billed as an experiment in modern music at Aeolian Hall in New York City. The concert included a brand new specially commissioned work by a young New York songwriter, the son of Jewish immigrants named George Gershwin, who, like Duke Ellington, had spent hours listening to black piano players in Harlem. Gershwin's composition was something altogether new, a classical piece suffused with jazz feeling, and it would become one of the best-loved compositions in all of American music, Rhapsody in Blue. The concert was a huge success. 4 hours of elegant and orchestral music without a hint of improvisation. But almost immediately, Paul Whiteman was billed as the king of jazz.
And of course, it's driving many blacks at the time and since crazy because, it's all too obvious. Paul Whiteman equals king of jazz. Whiteman himself actually never seems to have pretended to be any such thing.
Critics would one day accuse Whiteman of diluting jazz, of stealing from black Americans. But Whiteman himself always acknowledged the debt he owed.
White people went into jazz not with the idea that they were going to make fun of black people or that it was going to be degrading to black people. but that here was an art form that they were willing to take on its own terms and wanted to express and actually wanted to respect and elevate. This is what makes Paul Whiteman important. He wanted to take the music on something like its own terms. This was going to redound on everyone associated with this music, whether you're white or black.
Whiteman gave behind-the-scenes work to black arrangers and wanted to hire black musicians for his orchestra. But even in the Jazz Age, that was impossible.